The next unicorns will be designed for algorithms first. Let that sit for a second. I'm not talking about AI companies. I'm not talking about SaaS tools or machine learning startups. I'm talking about every kind of company, consumer brands, B2B services, e commerce, fintech, healthcare. The companies that are going to dominate the next decade aren't the ones with the best taglines or the most beautiful Instagram grids. They're the ones that were architectured from day one to be discovered, interpreted, and recommended by machines. Welcome to the show. Today we're going deep on what I'm calling AI native branding, a complete rethinking of how companies build their identity, their visibility, and their positioning in a world where your most important audience isn't a human being, it's an algorithm. We're going to cover three big things today: the script outline, what AI native branding actually means, and why it matters right now. Real case examples of companies doing this brilliantly, and the new branding models you need to understand if you're building anything in 2026. Buckle up. This is going to fundamentally change how you think about building a brand. The world has changed, and most brands haven't. Let me give you a number that should stop every CMO cold. In May 2024, 56% of Google searches ended without a single click to a website. By May 2025, that number climbed to 69%. 69%, that means the overwhelming majority of searches today, people looking for your product, your service, your company, are being answered by a machine before they ever reach your website. Before they see your hero image, before they read your about page, before they hear your brand voice. And it gets even more significant when you layer in what's happening with AI native search platforms. ChatGPT is now processing over 2.5 billion prompts per day. Perplexity has surpassed 780 million monthly queries. And here's the one that really lands for me: 35% of US consumers now use AI at the product discovery stage, compared to just 13.6% who use traditional search. The point of first contact between a potential customer and your brand is increasingly happening inside an AI conversation. And here's the brutal truth about that: LLMs don't click, they recall. If your brand isn't already part of what the model knows, trusts, and can cite, you don't exist in that moment. For 20 years, we built brands around one core idea: rank high on Google, drive traffic to your site, convert visitors into customers. Brand awareness fed into search intent fed into clicks, clicks fed into revenue. It was a beautiful flywheel. That flywheel is stalling. Gartner is projecting that traditional search engine volume will drop 25% by 2026. Publishers are reporting organic traffic losses of up to 40% since Google's AI overviews became dominant. And the brands spending millions on keyword first SEO are discovering they can rank number one on Google and still be invisible to the AI that's answering the query above the results. One marketing team I read about recently ran a textbook SEO campaign, ranked well across multiple high volume keywords. But when users triggered Google's AI generated overview for those same queries, the brand was nowhere. The AI pulled two competitors instead. All that work, all that budget, and the algorithm didn't even know they existed. So the question becomes, what does it actually mean to build a brand that algorithms can find, understand, and recommend? That's where AI native branding begins. What it means to be algorithm first. AI native branding is not about using AI to make your marketing faster or cheaper. That's AI assisted branding. And honestly, everyone's doing that now. According to SurveyMonkey, 61% of marketers are already using AI in at least one channel, and 51% specifically use it to optimize content. AI native branding is something different. It's a philosophy of company architecture. It means making strategic decisions from your naming conventions to your content structure to your PR strategy to your product positioning based on how algorithmic systems will interpret and distribute your brand story. There are three layers to this. Layer 1 is machine legibility. Can an AI system read your brand and understand what you do? not your tagline. AI doesn't really care about taglines. I mean, do you have clear, structured, authoritative content that answers the questions your customers are asking? Research from Princeton University found that content with verifiable statistics and named citations achieves 30 to 40% higher AI visibility than unoptimized content. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between being cited and being invisible. Layer 2 is earned authority. This is about what other entities say about you, not what you say about yourself. AI systems heavily weight third party signals, press coverage, community discussions, customer reviews on platforms like G2 and Trustpilot, mentions in Reddit threads, and LinkedIn posts. Here's the fascinating flip: Reddit, LinkedIn, and YouTube were among the top cited sources by leading LLMs as of late 2025. Your customers are having conversations about your product on these platforms, and those conversations are training the model that will either recommend you or not. Layer 3 is structural optimization, what's being called Generative Engine Optimization or GEO. This is the new discipline emerging to complement traditional SEO. Where SEO fought for clicks, GEO competes for citations for the AI to include your brand in its answer. And that market is exploding. The geo market was valued at 848 million in 2025 and is projected to reach 33.7 billion by 2034, a 50.5% compound annual growth rate for context. That's a category going from under $1 billion to 33 billion in under a decade. If you're a brand builder, a marketer, or a founder, this is where the next generation of professional expertise is going to be built. The key distinction: design versus retrofitted. Here's what makes a company truly AI native versus one that's just adapting. It's the difference between designed and retrofitted. A retrofitted brand is a traditional company that, after years of building around human audiences, is now trying to reformat old content, add schema markup, update metadata, and hope the algorithm notices. These companies are playing catch up, and they're going to spend enormous resources doing it. An AI native brand builds with machines in mind from day one. Their content strategy starts with the question: what will an AI cite when someone asks about this problem? Their PR strategy asks: how do we generate the kind of earned media coverage that algorithmic systems treat as authoritative? Their product positioning asks: what language patterns, data structures, and narrative frameworks make us the logical answer to a machine reasoning about our category? This is a fundamentally different design philosophy, and some companies are already executing it brilliantly. Let us talk about some case studies. Companies getting it right. Case example 1: Cursor, the algorithm native challenger. Let's start with Cursor. If you haven't heard of Cursor, it's an AI native development environment, essentially a code editor built from the ground up with AI as the primary interface, not an add on. What makes Cursor a masterclass in AI native branding is not their product, it's how they built their reputation. Cursor doesn't have a massive brand advertising budget. They don't run splashy Super Bowl campaigns. What they have is dominant presence in the conversations that developers are having everywhere: GitHub discussions, Reddit's programming communities, developer Slack groups, tech podcasts, Twitter threads. Cursor surpassed 2 billion in annualized revenue, doubling ARR in 3 months. It now serves 31 million plus users and is used by 64% of the Fortune 500, including Nvidia, Adobe, and OpenAI, generating over 100 million lines of enterprise code daily. Fast Company, Most Innovative Companies 2026. That community-driven mention-dense presence is precisely what AI systems look for when constructing answers about coding tools. When a developer asks ChatGPT or Perplexity, what's the best AI coding environment right now, Cursor dominates the response. Not because they paid for it, because the authentic signal landscape around their brand is overwhelming. That's AI native branding in action. Building a company where the earned signal you generate in community spaces is indistinguishable from your brand strategy. Case example 2: Perplexity. Branding the algorithm itself. Now, here's a fascinating case, a company that isn't just optimizing for AI discovery, they are the discovery engine. Perplexity AI has done something genuinely unique in the branding world. They've built their brand identity around the concept of trust and transparency in AI generated answers. Every Perplexity response shows its sources, every claim is cited. The entire product is a demonstration of what I'd call cited authority, the idea that legitimacy comes from the quality of your references, not the confidence of your assertion. And their brand story reinforces this at every touch point. Think about what that means for companies trying to get discovered through Perplexity. The brands that show up in Perplexity answers are the brands that have built exactly the kind of authoritative, well cited, well structured content that Perplexity's model trusts. Perplexity is essentially publishing its branding criteria every time it generates a response. Perplexity has surpassed 780 million monthly queries and over 50 million monthly visits, backed by over 1.5 billion in total funding. It grew to become a primary research tool for professionals and students globally. Case example 3, Sierra, the AI brand representative. Sierra is one of the most interesting branding plays I've seen in years. Founded by Brett Taylor, former Salesforce co CEO and OpenAI board member, and Clay Baver from Google, Sierra is building what they call brand representative AI agents. The concept is profound. Sierra's agents don't just do customer service, they embody a company's brand. They remember every past interaction a customer has had. They handle complex transactions. They are trained to reflect the brand's specific tone, values, and personality consistently, at scale, across every conversation. What Sierra is essentially arguing is that your brand is no longer just your visual identity or your marketing copy. It's the behavior of your AI agents. In a world where a customer's primary interaction with your company is through an AI interface, the way that AI speaks, reasons, and resolves problems, I as your brand. If your AI agent is cold and robotic, that's what your brand feels like. If it's warm, empathetic, and effortlessly helpful, that's your brand experience. Companies that understand this are rebuilding their brand guidelines to include AI interaction design. Not just tone of voice, but the decision frameworks, the empathy calibrations, the escalation protocols. The brand is the behavior. Case example 4 Notion, linear, and the structured data advantage. Here's one that's more subtle but extremely important. Productivity tools like Notion, Linear, and Airtable have become dominant in the AI citation landscape. Not because they have great marketing, but because their product generates structured, machine readable data outputs. When someone writes about project management on Notion and publishes that page, it's structured. When someone documents a sprint on Linear, it's organized in a machine legible hierarchy. When users create templates and share them publicly, those templates contain exactly the kind of clearly organized, category specific content that AI systems are trained to trust and cite. These companies didn't set out to optimize for AI citation, but their product philosophy of structured, transparent, user generated content has made them enormously visible to AI systems. That's an accidental AI native advantage. The lesson for everyone building today is intentionalize it. The new branding models for the algorithmic era. Model 1, the citation authority model. The first new branding model I want to give you is what I'm calling the citation authority model. In traditional branding, authority came from advertising reach, how many people saw your message, how many times. In the algorithmic era, authority comes from citation density, how many trusted, independent sources reference your brand in relevant contexts. Think about how Google built PageRank. Links were the signal. AI citation authority works similarly, but instead of links, it's mentions. Research from SE Ranking, studying 2.3 million pages, found that high traffic sites earn 3 times more AI citations than low traffic ones. Domain authority is the number one predictor of AI citation frequency. So, what does this mean for brand strategy? It means your PR team is now also your AI visibility team. Every media placement, every analyst mention, every podcast appearance, every industry award, these aren't just reputation signals anymore. They're algorithmic fuel. Earned media isn't just brand building, it's visibility infrastructure. AI powered search agents increasingly prioritize trusted third party sources when surfacing answers. Press coverage, interviews, awards, and media mentions have become not just brand builders but AI visibility infrastructure. Model 2, the structured narrative model. The second model is the structured narrative model. Here's the core insight: AI systems don't respond to vague brand storytelling, they respond to structured, factual, directly answerable content. SimilarWeb found that ChatGPT prompts average around 60 words compared to 3.4 words for a typical Google search. The user who types into ChatGPT is more specific, more conversational, and significantly more likely to act on whatever the AI tells them. They're not browsing, they're deciding. And to be cited in that answer, your content needs to match the structure of a good answer. What does that look like in practice? Content with clear hierarchical headings, data dense paragraphs where every claim has a source, FAQ sections designed around the exact questions your customers are asking AI, schema markup that makes your information machine readable. And this is crucial: first paragraphs that directly answer the question without preamble. The structured narrative model turns every piece of brand content into a potential answer, not a pitch, not a story, an answer. Because the AI doesn't need your pitch. It needs to be able to extract the fact, attribute it to you, and include it in a response that helps a user. Model 3, the behavioral brand model. The third model is one we touched on with Sierra, but let's go deeper. I'm calling it the behavioral brand model. Traditional brand models focused on identity, your logo, your colors, your voice. The behavioral brand model says your brand is increasingly the sum of interactions your AI systems have on your behalf. Every chatbot conversation, every AI generated email, every automated recommendation, these are brand touchpoints. And unlike human customer service agents, AI agents are infinitely scalable and perfectly consistent, which means your brand behavior can scale infinitely for better or worse. The companies getting this right are building what I'd call AI brand constitutions, detailed behavioral frameworks that govern how their AI agents think, respond, escalate, and represent the company. This isn't just a prompt, it's a foundational document that encodes the company's values, personality, edge cases, and aspirations into every AI interaction. In a world where 73% of marketers say AI is key to delivering personalized customer experiences, the brands that define their AI behavior with the same rigor they'd apply to human employee training are the ones that will maintain emotional resonance at scale. Model 4, the distributed discovery model. And finally, the fourth model, distributed discovery. Traditional branding concentrated on owning a few key channels, your website, maybe one or two social platforms, some paid media. The goal was to drive everything back to a central hub. AI native branding inverts this. Because AI systems are pulling signals from everywhere: Reddit, LinkedIn, YouTube, review sites, forums, news outlets. Your brand presence needs to be genuinely distributed across the ecosystem, not spun up artificially. Authentically present wherever your customers are having real conversations. The implication is profound. You can't win AI visibility with a beautifully designed website and a modest social media presence. You need an ecosystem of presence thought leadership on LinkedIn, genuine community engagement on Reddit and industry forums, customer voices on review platforms, expert citations in industry publications, partner mentions in adjacent content. The same brand can see citation volumes differ by 615x between different AI platforms like Grok and Claude. Multi platform tracking and presence is now essential for AI brand strategy. 615 times. That's not a marginal difference, That's the difference between being everywhere and being nowhere, depending on which AI your customer is talking to. Distributed discovery isn't just a nice to have, it's a strategic imperative. What this means for you right now, let me bring this home with something concrete. Because I know some of you are sitting here thinking, okay, this is all fascinating, but what do I actually do on Monday morning? Here's my framework. 3 shifts you can start making right now. Shift 1: audit your content for machine legibility. Go to your 5 most important web pages, your home page, your product pages, your about page, and ask yourself, if an AI system were reading this, what question would it think this page answers? If the answer is unclear, your page needs restructuring. Make every page answer a specific question explicitly in the first 100 words. Shift 2: map your earned signal footprint. Where is your brand being talked about right now that you don't control? Customer reviews, industry press, community forums, podcast mentions. That map is your current AI citation foundation. Strengthen it intentionally. Brief your PR team that media placements now carry AI visibility value. Invest in communities where your customers are already having conversations. Shift 3: design your AI behavior before you deploy it. If you're already using AI agents in customer service, sales, or support, build the behavioral framework before you scale. Define not just the tone but the decision criteria. How does your AI handle frustration? How does it reflect your brand values in edge cases? What does your AI agent do that a competitor's wouldn't? That's your competitive advantage at scale. Most enterprise brands have now begun geo initiatives, but most SMBs have not started. The early mover advantage in AI citation authority is still available, and like domain authority before it, citation authority compounds over time. The window is open, but it won't be forever. Citation authority compounds. Brands with strong AI visibility today will be harder to displace in 2027 and 2028. The brands that architect for algorithmic discovery right now are building a compounding advantage their competitors won't be able to buy their way out of later. I want to close with the thought I opened with because I think it lands differently now. The next unicorns will be designed for algorithms first, not because humans don't matter. Humans matter more than ever because AI systems are trained on human trust, human language, human behavior. The companies that win are the ones that understand the new chain of trust. Humans talk, algorithms learn, algorithms recommend, humans buy. Your brand has to be legible and authoritative at every link in that chain. The companies that get there first, that build with machine visibility in mind from day one, that earn citations the way previous generations earned backlinks, that design AI behavior with the same rigor they once applied to human experience, those are the companies that will define the next decade. AI native branding isn't a trend, it's the new table stakes. That's a wrap on today's episode. If this one made you think differently about your brand or your company, share it with someone building something. That's how this show grows, one good conversation at a time. I'll see you in the next one.